Okay, so everybody's paying attention, please, because we need to be able to do this on test day. So, here's the question. Will Aylick, Jack Brokat, what are we discussing over there? How should we start this problem?
Factor.
Factor everything that'll factor, exactly. So this is the only thing that'll factor, so we'll just do that right now. Then what happens? Bryce Acreage, what happens next?
Multiply x minus 2.
Exactly, times everything. X plus 1, x minus 2. Times everything. Abby Brady, you paying attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Katie? You paying attention?
Yes.
Okay. Next time we want to get a perfect paper, right? Okay. So stuff cancels. If we do what Bryce says, stuff cancels. So here we have 3x times x minus 2. Then we have plus 5 times x plus 1. And then all that's gone and we have just 15. Now some of you guys are thinking ahead and you're doing this work in your head. Be careful. I would rather you wrote this step down. I'm not going to grade, I'm not going to count it wrong if you don't write it down. But here's what happens. Sometimes you forget to do the distributive if you don't write it down. So I know you can do this in your head, but be careful because you tend to make careless mistakes when you do that. So we have 3x squared minus 6x here, plus 5x plus 5 here, equals 15. Right? Now, what do I do at this point? Yeah, that's right, and get it set equal to 0. So I'm going to have 3x squared minus x minus 10 equals 0. Now, this one does factor. If you don't want to mess with it, don't feel confident, use the quadratic formula, but it does factor. So you get negative 5/3 and 2 as your answers. Now, who has that answer and I took all points? Katie, why did I take all points?
Oh, because I didn't. Oh, never mind.
Because the 2 doesn't work because it will make the second, it will make it 0.
Exactly. What do we call the 2? An extraneous root. So you need to cross this off, and this is the answer. Why did somebody mess up my letters over there?
Oh no. Wait, what?
What am I going to do? Okay, this is the answer. Got it? Now, I want to practice. I don't know if you have room on this paper to do it or if you want to get another sheet of paper, but we are going to have a quiz on Thursday. And it will be one problem just like this, only it will be this kind of problem. We're going to practice, I think we'll practice maybe 3 of them today to get really good since I won't see you again until Thursday. And Thursday's the quiz. One problem, it'll look just like this. So Tyler Decker, do you have any idea how to start? Exactly. Common theme, all of our problems, gang, we start by factoring. Jordan Bruns, do you see how this one factors maybe? How do you think it factors? Plus 6? No, you 6 and 1 are right, but your signs are wrong. This is a -5, so you need your bigger number to be negative. So you get -6 and +1. So your 1 and 6 were exactly what you wanted. We just need those signs. Is that okay with everybody? Now, Jared, do you remember what to do next with a problem like this? No? No clue. Draw a number line. Thank you, Olivia. Now, my friend Jared, you're going to hate my guts, but I'm going to come right back to you. Now that I got a number line drawn, what do I do now? I put a dot at -1 and 6. Would those dots be open or closed, Jared? They'd be closed. And then, Jared, one more step. What do I need to do now? -2. You can pick any number you want. You're choosing -2. Perfect. And what am I going to do with -2? I'm going to plug it in. And I'm going to pay attention. I want my answer to be negative. Less than 0 means negative. So I put in -2. I would get a negative times a negative. What's a negative times a negative? A positive. That is not what I wanted. So this section doesn't work. What does that mean about this section? It will, and this section won't. So your answer is everything between -1 and 6. Or if you like interval notation, you would use the brackets because the dots are closed and say bracket -1, 6.
But you don't have to do that.
You don't have to. Answer it one way or the other, either way. Okay, let's try another one. Remember, one problem quiz on Thursday, which is the next time we're together. Step 1, Thomas Berg. Factor. Thomas, do you see how this one factors? Take your time, think about it for a minute. I have 2 parentheses.
+6 x +6.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. It makes sense,
2.
but the problem is that's going to give you a -6, isn't it? Yeah, that's it.
+2, or x +2.
Perfect. That's better. You got to be careful. Sometimes, you know, there might appear to be more than one option, so we got to pay attention. Good job. What do I do next, Abby Brady? Draw a number line and put 2 dots on this number line, Abby. What are they going to be? Where are they going to be?
-2 and -3.
And make sure you put them on in that order, right? Because that's the order they come on the number line. Will those dots be open or closed, Abby?
They will be open.
Why are they open?
Because of the sign.
That's right, it's a just, and there's no or equal to. All right, what's next, Kaylin?
Then you have to find a number less than -1.
Okay, pick any number you want, right? So you're gonna pick -4. And when I put -4 in here, I would get a negative times another negative. Now, I want positive. Is that gonna give me what I want? So this works, which means this doesn't, and this does. So my answer, everything less than -3 or greater than -2. In 48 hours, you're gonna come back and take a quiz, right? I'm gonna give you one more to practice on. I want you to practice at your table and compare answers. So here it is. Oh, Mrs. Ford.
Thank you, Ms. Ford.
See if you can sort it out at your tables. Remember what the first step is. What's the first step? Gotta factor.
Are they an hour tomorrow? I had AP.
While you're working on that, I'm turning back your last tab.
We have it for an hour. And then you have it. And have work out for an hour. Minus 2. You can only do that when it's like minus this. What period do you take?
Thursday we have second
We can also do work out with you dig out X. Remember we did it like last. You take out the X squared. So if you take out X squared, you can use when you look at it. So you take out X squared, do that, and you do that, and then what we do, you can take out -4. So we have darn it, plus 5. Did you split these up back?
I don't know when that would be, Tyler Decker.
Next period. I was kind of thinking.
Okay, now find out, we're not looking at your test right now. We are getting this problem under control because that's your next grade. This one's water under the bridge. We gotta get this quiz under control so I get a few more perfect papers. I'd like all perfect papers. Okay? So, did you get it factored?
Yeah.
How did you get it factored, Abby Brady?
I got X squared minus 4, and then X plus 5.
So you took an x squared out of the first two
Never mind.
and a -4 out of the last two. And then you said, okay, so I got my x plus 5, and then I got my leftover x squared minus 4. Now, Abby should not have, this is good, But she shouldn't have stopped here, because why? This guy factors down more. Now, Abby, I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say again, talked about this before. See this guy right here? That tells me how many factors I should have. So before I finish factoring, I should have 3. Now I have 3. Now, does anyone have a question getting to this point? Maya Brown, are you okay back there?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody can get this factoring. Okay. Then we'll do what we do before. We'll draw our number line, only this time there's going to be 3 dots on the number line. Karen, where are the 3 dots?
-5, -2.
Open dots are closed. Open. And I can see from my problem that I am shooting for a negative result. So Ethan Topham, pick a number. What number did you pick? -6. So we're going to pick -6. We're going to put it in here, here, and here. And Ethan, it looks like if I put in a -6, a -6, a -6, they all come out negative. So when I multiply a negative, 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 I get negative, which is good. This won't work. This will. Won't.
Every other one, right?
Every other one. It skips. Somebody said that the other day. It skips. So my answer is everything less than -5 or between -2 and 2. Now, I do want to mention your answer is not the number line. Now, obviously, if you get to this point, you're going to get almost full credit. But if you want full credit, you have to have an answer. The number line is not your answer. This is your answer. Okay, so what happens on Thursday? We're gonna have a quiz. There'll be one problem, and it's gonna be one of these where you have to set up factors, draw a number line, shade some of it, and then write your answer.
Okay.
Everybody clear on that? Okay. Take a look at your test. Go sit in Mrs. Hollis's room. I'm so mad at you right now I can beat you up. Go sit in Mrs. Hollis's room. I'll send somebody over to get you. Who has a question about something on the test? I will be collecting these. Don't put them away. They don't have holes in them. You don't get to keep them. I'm going to pick them back up. But who has a question? It's been a while since I graded them, so I can't even remember.
So, you're doing something that you plug in the signs that are relatively less fast.
No. If I were doing this problem right here, and I wanted to divide by this, the box would have a -5 out here. It's the opposite. It's always the opposite.
Could you do number 11?
Okay, number 11. Okay, number 11. Now, this is a sketch.
I wish I had your better.
Okay, this is a sketch. So the first thing I do is put some dots on my picture. This is kind of like what we're doing now because the dots go the same place they would if you were doing a number line, right? So the dots are going to go at -1. They're going to go at 3. And they're going to go at -4. Would everybody agree with that?
You have to have that Y-intercept?
You don't have to put the Y-intercept on there, but you can if you want. Now, what is the degree of this polynomial? 2, 3, 4, 5? Remember, odd degree polynomials start down, end up. Unless you put a negative in front of them, and then they start up and end down.
That's terrible.
So it starts up here.
That's terrible.
Now, see how that's squared? So it's gonna bounce off.
Yeah.
See how that's squared? It's gonna bounce off. That's not squared, so it goes through. So that's the picture you were shooting for. Okay, anybody else?
I haven't taken this test.
Somebody go get Tyler. Wait a minute. Oh, Paige, you haven't either because you're. Are you still concussed?
No, I got cleared. I have to schedule it. I'll go
You should be next year.
Yeah.
You want your sister? You don't want to get all your mom?
No matter what, you can't hold it. That's not. Ever since you called on me in this wheelers class for 2 days. Ever since I was in that class.
Okay.
Mrs. Ford, how many points do you have?
Well, it's
Like each problem?
yeah, each problem was worth about 5.
I was really pushing
I
for your
just,
hand.
I thought I did good on that.
I thought you did well.
Yeah. I still.
You know what killed you? You couldn't get your vertex right on your parabola. You missed both of those. You missed a lot of little things.
Yeah, it's like, that's always what happens to me. Like, I know how to do it, but I just like forget to do it.
She's like,
What? I'm gonna.
That's the thing that I can
I have to do this. I need to get a study. Study session.
Oh, wait, now I'm like.
I got all the papers. Okay, now let's look at last night's homework. You have the answers on the back. Did anybody not get what you were supposed to in terms of last night's homework? People. We're going to go on to pre-practice test 1 if nobody's got a question about last night's homework. These questions are on the test. Did you, which one, Tyler? Number 2. Okay, here we go. Number 2. Amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. Okay? Now, here we go. We got 19% solution. This is number 2. We've got 30% solution, and we're going to end up with 25% solution. Now, they always give me one amount, at least one amount. So what amount did they give me? 18 gallons, and that goes over here, right? So I want to know how much 19%. So I'm going to put the X there. Would you agree with that? Now, this is tricky. What goes there? 18 minus X. Very good, Brooke. Here's the deal, folks. You know these two added together have to be 18, don't they? This plus this has to be 18. So if this is X, this is gonna be 18 minus x. Now, I know that's confusing, so I want you to think about it for a second. What if I told you this was 4? What if I said that's 4? What would this have to be? If they add up to 18, and this was 4, this would have to be what? 14. And you know that because you would take 18 minus 4, right? So what if this were 12? What would this have to be? If they're going to add up to 18, this would have to be 6. And you would know it's 6 because it's 18 minus 12, right? One more. If this were 10, what would this have to be? 8. Because if they have to add up to 18, this would be 18 minus 10. So if this is x, this has to be 18 minus x. 18 minus 4, 18 minus 12, 18 minus 10, 18 minus x. That's what goes there. Tyler, can you solve it from there then?
Yeah.
Okay, that's tricky. That's tricky. All right, I want to compare that to number 3. Because number 3 says how much 55% must be mixed with 8 pints of 70% to get a 66%. Now, this is a different structure. This is number 3. You have X gallons and 8 gallons, so what are you going to put here? 8 plus X. That's probably easier for you to see than this one. All right, anybody else? Okay, let's get out practice test number 1 then. You already got it.
This is the elbow.
Oh, what does that remind me of? The elbow.
What are you looking at?
Your elbow. Oh, yeah, at our prison, what you see is the elbow on the
Oh,
side.
yeah. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the whole front page, you guys. The whole front page is one problem. And it is the same kind of problem that we had on our first quiz the other day, where you have to do holes and all that stuff. Who feels like he or she knows how to start this problem? Factoring. Veronica Stemke, can you factor either the top or the bottom for me? Either one.
Bottom would be x plus 2 and x minus 2.
Yep, bottom is x plus 2, x minus 2. Good. Can anybody factor the top for me?
X minus 3, x plus 2.
X minus 3, x plus 2. Thank you, Olivia.
Get rid of the whole.
Now, do you see a cancellation? So now our problem becomes this. And I am going to take the time to write it down, put a box around it. Some of you will highlight it because you have highlighters. This is what you're going to graph. Before you get into that, though, let's go ahead and graph our hole. Our hole will happen where x is -2. Are you following along? How do I figure out the other half of the hole? Plug it into the box. So if I put in -2, I would have -5 over -4, which is 5/4. So I'm gonna come over to my graph and I'm gonna put a hole at -2 5/4. Are you with me? I really don't want you just copying down what I write. I want you doing it on your own and understanding what's going on. Do you feel like you're still okay at this point? No confusion? Hi, Brahmo, are you paying any attention today? Okay, honey. We have a test coming up. Now, let's take a look at the box. Let's put some other stuff in our picture. Will Alick, can you put something else in the picture? I got the hole there. Can you put anything else in there for me?
Yeah, I can do the x-intercept.
Where's the x-intercept?
It is at 3, and I got it by looking at your holes, you make it y equal to 0, so it's 0 equals, and times the 2 over, then add 3.
Exactly. So he not only told us where it's at, and he's exactly right, that's my x-intercept. This is my x-intercept, but he went through how he found it. He said, look, Mrs. Ford, an x-intercept, I have to let y be 0. So if I let y be 0, I have this little equation to solve. It's a tiny little equation. When I multiply this over to here, it's still 0. So I add 3, and I get my x-intercept is at 3, 0. Very nicely done, Will. Taylor Holder, can you find something for me? No, I have not. But you can.
Okay, I like looked at the negatives as -4 and what about so -2.
So you get positive 3 halves?
Yeah.
Now notice that's exactly what you get if you use the box. You get positive 3 halves. How do we find a y-intercept, groupies? We let x be 0. And if you let the x's be 0, you have -3 over -2, which is 3 halves. Remember, with your intercepts, gang, you're just going to have 2 points. One of them has a 0 for x, and one of them has a 0 for y. That's how you find your intercepts. If you graph it on the x-axis, it's your x-intercept. If you graph it on the y-axis, it's your y-intercept. What's missing? What else do we still need? We need some asymptotes. Katie Roth, can you find either asymptote for me?
The horizontal asymptote is 1 squared over x squared.
Exactly. Horizontal asymptote is at y equals 1. That is your horizontal. Look at it. It's horizontal. That's your horizontal asymptote. X over x. Or x squared over x squared. It doesn't make any difference. X over x. X squared over x squared. Either way, it reduces to 1. That's your horizontal. Madison Jones, last thing, I need a vertical asymptote.
You can set the denominator equal to 0.
So where's it going to be? X equals 2. I got a vertical asymptote at x equals 2. Vertical asymptotes happen when the denominator equals 0. Now, you've sketched enough of these, Lord knows, we've sketched enough of these for you to have some sense of what it looks like, especially when you see these 2 points right here. They have to be connected, kids. Now, not that one, because you can't cross the asymptote. But these 2 have to be connected. And if you just continue with